Well, good afternoon everybody and welcome back to the channel. Hey, today I'm out here with the Tacoma and I thought, you know, I'm going to go through and compile a list, which I've done right down there, of the top 5 with a bonus mods that I've done to the truck that people continually ask about. You know, I get questions a lot, hey, where'd you get this, what's that, you know, stuff like that. So I thought I'd go through, put it in all in one place, at least the top 5, or really 6, and let you guys know where they come from and all that kind of stuff. And I'll give you a little guess as to price. I didn't go through and research the prices, but I'll tell you what I think they were, roughly. First thing, let's go ahead and step inside. This comes up often. This is probably one of the top 5. And it's the seat stuffer that you guys can see right here. And I know the lighting in here because of this camera is a little strange. But the seat stuffers, you guys can see right here. These are exactly what the name implies. They stuff the gap. And some places call them seat gap fillers. But they stuff the gaps right between the seats right there, you guys can hopefully see. And the purpose of them, obviously, is to keep stuff from falling down between the seats. You know, coins, French fries, you know, back when you could go get French fries, your phone, things like that. And let me tell you, they are very handy because they do indeed keep junk and stuff from falling between your seats. I love them. Those were actually given to me or sent to me by a subscriber. And I'm not sure you can actually get the Toyota ones anymore, but you can get seat stuffers. So all of this stuff, there'll be information down below as to where you can pick this up. But you can find them either as seat stuffers or seat gap fillers. Next up is the center console mod. You guys can see, hopefully, right here. Let's turn a light on in here, see if we can get anything better. I know, it's kind of dark. But anyway, it's not really a cover. The original cover was taken off, and then this modified version was put on by Kylin Brimhall. And you can see I've got my logo in there, of course, and that's because I have the channel. But you can get this done any way you want. You don't have to have any logo at all. And the benefit of doing this is Kylin puts kind of a gel padding underneath. So if you've ever driven the Tundra for any length of time and sat there with your elbow on that, I guess the OEM armrest, it's not very comfortable. After a while, your elbow starts to hurt a bit. What Kylin puts in there eliminates it. At least it does for me. It's much more comfortable. So even if you're not necessarily looking to make your truck have a little more bling into it or anything like that, or jazz it up a bit, even having that that gel pad put underneath there is fantastic. And again, that's Kylin Brimhall. I'll leave his name down below. Next up, and this is on the outside where we have a little more light out here, are the smoked turn signals that I have on the mirror. You know, originally these come with a clear kind of chrome looking thing. And this is so much better. It just blends in with the truck better, especially if you have the off-road version with the black fender flares. It just looks really good on here, I think. And underneath there is an amber light, of course. These are LEDs. They do flash amber. And there are videos, by the way, up on the channel about all of this stuff. So if you want more in-depth or even how to install these things, you can find videos on my channel about that. But these are awesome. They come from a company called Meso Customs. Pretty cool. Next up is the lift itself. A lot of people ask me, what do I have? Is it a suspension lift, block and spacer? It is a block and spacer lift. It is a 3-2 Readylift. 3 inches in the front, 2 inches in the back, spacers in the front, and blocks in the back. There's a lot of different thinking out there about block and spacer lifts, I guess. You know, it is probably the cheapest way you can go, but unless you're doing any kind of heavy-duty off-roading or anything, I mean, it works perfectly. You know, it gets the truck up in the air so you can put bigger wheels and tires on if you want, which, of course, I've done. But it looks really good, and it can be done for a pretty darn cheap price. I think the lift itself on my truck was right around $350, something like that. And by the way, I mentioned I'd tell you the prices. Let's back up a little bit. The seat stuffers shouldn't cost you any more than about 20 bucks. The center console cover, that's kind of between you and Kylin, depending on what you want. You know, obviously the more extravagant that you want, the more it's going to cost. But I would say somewhere between probably 40, 50 bucks on up to maybe 100, maybe a little over that. Again, depending on how intricate you want to be with what you're doing. The smoked out or the blacked out mirror signals, I think those were somewhere, if I recall, under 100 bucks, but I would have to go back and check. Again, that's just a guess, but you can figure somewhere around that range. And again, the Readylift, about 350 bucks plus another 150, $250 in labor. So all out, if you don't do it yourself, which probably most of us don't, going to cost you somewhere around 600 bucks, or it should, to have that lift installed. Next up, and this one I just got asked about recently, and I do get asked about this frequently, so I thought I would go ahead and cover this one, and I think it's awesome. And you guys can see it right there before we even get into the truck, and that is the cell phone holder. And obviously right there we are on the video. It's just a simple device. It has a suction cup mount on one side, and then a magnet over here. And then, of course, on the back of your phone, there is a magnet, or not magnetic, but a metal plate. That just sticks onto the case. And I have never had one fall off of the case, but it's very easy. You just stick it up there. I've never had a phone drop off of this case since I've had, or this holder since I've had it. However, I will say, if your truck sits outside in extreme heat or extreme cold, the suction will give way, and this will fall down. So until you get in your truck and you get it heated up a bit or something, if you're in those kind of conditions, I wouldn't put your phone up there until you get moving for a little bit. But just a little word of caution. Otherwise, it has never broken loose on me. It's always worked really well, and I love being able to just throw my phone up there. I mean, it works fantastically. And that thing, it's made by a company called, I think it's pronounced SCOSCHE, and I think the price was somewhere around $15 to $20, something like that. So it won't break the bank. Last up, side steps. This is the bonus. I get asked occasionally, not as much as the other 5, but still enough for me to mention them. And these are the Predator side steps. Of course, mine are filthy dirty right now. But these are the Predator side steps that I get, that you can get rather, from the dealership if you want. I wouldn't recommend that. I would get them via third party, Amazon, something like that. They're going to cost you somewhere, if I recall, in the $250 to $350, $400 range, something like that. I think they look really sporty on the truck. They've held up really well. I mean, obviously, if you're going to be doing some serious off-roading, you probably don't want those steps hanging down, and you'd probably be better off to go with some sort of a rock crawling friendly thing like sliders or something like that, because if you catch these on something, you're just going to rip them off probably. The other thing I will mention about these in any side step like this, if you're using some sort of a high lift jack, they are not a jacking point. I wouldn't stick a high lift jack underneath the edge of that and try to jack the truck up to change the tires. You can do that with certain sliders out there, but I definitely wouldn't do it with the Predator side steps. I think you'd probably be asking for trouble, and again, they're just not strong enough and not meant for that really. So that's about it. That's kind of a list of the 6 really mods that people ask me about most on the channel. I've had real good luck with all of them. Never had any issues. I wouldn't come on here and recommend them if I did. They've held up really well. Some of them have been in multiple trucks. The seat stuffers were in my original Tundra way back, the cement, and they've been in the magnetic gray one, they've been in the red one, now they're in the blue one as far as Tacomas go. Never had any issues with those. The lift is great, the steps are great, all just awesome mods. Anyway, check out down below. I'll leave some information down there if you want to look into them further. Before I get off here, don't forget, if you're interested in the Jeep Gladiator right up there, is my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I have a second channel all about that, along with a little bit of my wife's Jeep JL behind me here, the pumpkin orange. That channel is RobMotion. Go over there and check that out if you would. And also, don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.